I talk, you listen, or you turn the channel. Either way, I'm still going to talk. Welcome to Unfiltered. This is a very special episode of Unfiltered. As you can see, I don't have my usual background, my usual desktop. I'm on light duty. I can't lift anything. So Lee refused to let me set up my regular set because my desktop weighs about 100 pounds. My set pieces weigh 20 pounds apiece. But let me tell you why this is going to be such a special episode. It's going to be, for one thing, probably more educational than any of the Unfiltereds I've ever done. How do I want to put this? It's like a video thank you is pretty much what this episode is going to be. And I want to let everybody know that hasn't been watching Unfiltered for a long time. I use humor as a means to cover up pain, stress, anxiety, and fear. So I make fun of things that scare me and frighten me and make me uneasy. Now that that's said, you're going to laugh a lot tonight because we're going to talk about my little ordeal this past weekend. Let me see if it even says a time on this paperwork. It doesn't. Yes, it does. About 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2000, 8 o'clock. Been a long time since I was in the military. About 8 o'clock on Saturday night, I was on my way down south to visit some friends, going down 91. Got around the Springfield area, and I started to not feel very well. I had a headache, my jaw hurt, my stomach was a little bit upset, and I started sweating. Well, I don't ever get sick. And when I do get sick, I get hammered. So the last time I felt like that, I had woken up in the middle of the night feeling like that about 5 or 6 years ago. Threw up all over the place, and the next day I was fine. But I didn't feel good. I didn't want to continue the trip. I turned around. Well, on the way back up, of course, sweating like a pig, I rolled down the windows in the car. Started to have a tightness across the top of my chest. That's right. 47-year-old Rick was having a heart attack. An honest-to-goodness, full-blown heart attack. Not a, it wasn't like a shutdown where my heart stopped. I didn't go into the V-fib or whatever they call it. But I had a blockage in one of my arteries, the right coronary artery. I had a 70% blockage. Well, I didn't realize that was what was happening at the time. I just stepped on the gas a little bit more and headed for home because I just knew I wanted to be home. I got just west of Base Hill Road on Route 9, and I noticed a drop in my hearing levels. And my eyesight started to get fuzzy around the edges. So I pulled over, got my cell phone out of the glove box because I thought I was going to have to call 911. Took a couple of deep breaths. The vision cleared up. So I said, all right. And I stepped on the gas a little bit faster. I decided I'd take West Street and go up Court Street to go home. When I got up onto Court Street, I made the decision that maybe instead of going home, I would just stop at the emergency room. Walked in. They asked me what the problem was. I said, I'm having some chest pains, my neck hurts, my jaw hurts, and I'm sweating. Well, it was the first time in my life that the emergency room said, come right in, immediately. They laid me down, hooked me up with all the wires. First thing I heard somebody say was, call and see if DART is flying. DART, for anybody that doesn't know what DART is, it's actually D-H-A-R-T. It's the Dartmouth-Hitchcock Advanced Response Team. And see, I thought it was air rescue transport. It's the helicopter, the green and white helicopter that you see flying around the hospital once in a while. Hence, the green and white background. These people are angels. Angels disguised as pilots and helicopter people in flight suits and helmets and the whole 9 yards. So they shipped me to Dartmouth, which was a blessing because, you know, Keene is an all right hospital, but if you need any kind of major procedures done, Dartmouth-Hitchcock in Lebanon is the place to go. I mean, if you can't go, I guess, Mass General or, you know, one of these high muckety-muck hospitals, Dartmouth-Hitchcock is the best hospital. I would say, I have to say, in New Hampshire anyway. For one thing, it's a teaching college. It's a teaching hospital, or a hospital college, whatever. But they have all the latest innovations and technologies available in medicine. They dragged me in. They did what they call a coronary angiogram to start with, where they laid me down. They stuck a needle in my groin. I know, a lot of you people are thinking the wrong place. It's next to that, okay? Where the leg meets the hip, right in the V, they drove a needle into my femoral artery, which kind of scared me because at the Keene Hospital, one of the first things they do for a heart attack is start injecting you with blood thinners, which means that any little cut, nick, or anything, it's easy to bleed out because your blood is thin. What they're trying to do is get the blood going through the heart easier. So they shoved this needle into my femoral artery, inserted a sheath so that they could use different catheters. Now, Bruce knows about this because Bruce actually probably made some of the pieces and parts that they used on me up there. They went in all the way up through my arteries to my heart. And they injected dye into the veins so they could find where the blockage was. Once they did that, they went in with another catheter with a balloon on the end of it. Very tiny balloons. Well, they got that in place where the clog was. And it was 70% closed. So they got this balloon in there, they blew a little air in there, opened the blood vessel back up. Or opened the artery back up. Once they did that, that catheter came out, another one went in with a little metal tube called a stent. They positioned that in the space that had been collapsed or blocked, used another balloon to stretch it into place. I was done. But I've got to tell you, all this happened. Keene emergency room, in the helicopter, into Dartmouth-Hitchcock in Lebanon, in and out of the procedure, all within the span of 2 hours. Incredible. It would have taken 2 hours to load me on an ambulance and drive me to Dartmouth. Helicopter ride took 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Of course, it probably cost $15,000 or something for a helicopter ride. And
That's a hell of a way to get a helicopter ride, though. Isn't
yeah,
it?
well, you know, if you want to take a helicopter ride laying on your back, that's the way you do it. You know,
Could have at least gone during the day so you could have seen something.
if I'd have thought, I would have done it during the day.
Next time you have a heart attack, plan ahead a little bit. You know?
I will. And that way I could be able to let people know instead of last minute, you know. But here's the thing that, I mean, I'm going to start with the stupid funny laughs right now. Because when they took me from Keene, they wheeled me out of the emergency room, loaded me onto a Deluzio ambulance, drove around the building, unloaded me into the helicopter. Instead of just pushing me down the back hallway of the hospital and taking me out the back door, which I would have thought they would do, no. They got to get the ambulance involved because it's another bill that they can send me. See, this is why medical costs are so high. And they released me from Dartmouth on Tuesday. I was ready to go on Monday morning. Felt just fine. Agitated because it's a non-smoking hospital. And they weren't they gave me handfuls and handfuls of pills every day, but nothing that really did anything to me. You know, I tried to tell them, look, I'm not a pillhead. I'm a pot smoker. They didn't care. Monday morning, when the docs came in, because now in Dartmouth, you don't just see one doctor like you would here in Keene. Your doctor comes into your room, how you feeling today, blah, blah, blah. Up in Dartmouth, you get a team of doctors. And 6 or 8 or 10 people come into your room and gather around your bed and go over all your stuff. Granted, half of them aren't really doctors yet, but they're on their way, and that's how they're learning. They go with one doctor or 2 doctors, and of course there are visiting doctors from other countries that come and study at Dartmouth to learn new techniques and things. But very, very professional people. But Monday morning, I told the doc, I said, you know, I feel like I'm ready to get out of here. And they said, well, we don't think you've been here long enough. We want to observe you more. And I said, all right, but I'm not going to pay. Plain and simple, let me out because I'm not going to pay. It's just a bigger loss for you. They said, we don't care. I mean, this is a doctor. I mean, I thought all doctors were money grubbing. You know, I went through medical school, so I deserved to make $800,000 a year or whatever. But no, they said, we don't care if you pay or not. We're going to fix you and make sure you're fixed. What I didn't think to tell them was, look, it's my job to break my body. It's your job to fix it. Plain and simple. That's how doctor-patient stuff works. You know, I do my best to do all the bad things that I can to my body. It's their job to fix me. You know, like a mechanic. If cars never broke down, we wouldn't need mechanics. If our bodies never broke down, we wouldn't need doctors. Plain and simple. It's like a symbiotic relationship. And of course, you hear the same thing over and over. It's eat healthier. Don't smoke. Don't do this. Don't do that. All these things that in life we do because we enjoy, but they're horrible for us, but we do them anyway. And I have to admit, I'm still smoking. I did switch to light cigarettes, if that helps. Same way I switched to like light mayonnaise and light salt and light beef and light fried foods. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Um, I'm pretty sure Athens has like a light fried chicken tender or something.
Is that like the type of oil they fry it in makes it better?
It,
If
it
you
might
use,
be.
canola oil versus vegetable oil or
Light
something?
Chinese, I order, that kind of stuff, Chinese light. Um,
Cooked by the smaller people.
right,
So,
right. So it's not as bad for you. I don't know. But that's the hardest thing. And I mean, I'm a guy that loves a dozen pieces of bacon for breakfast with 3 eggs and, but not anymore. I get oatmeal because my cholesterol's high. Oatmeal's good for bringing down your cholesterol. Oatmeal and Cheerios. But see, a lot of people think that that's it. Oatmeal and Cheerios, if you eat those, your cholesterol will go down. Not true.
it's just a substitute for the bacon and the sausage you used to eat.
And it's not just Cheerios. I mean, you can eat any kind of cereal as long as it's whole grain cereal. That's the thing. I saw a fact on Community Health this week on Channel 8 here in Keene. Had an episode called Whole Grain Goodness, where they talked about whole grains. The fact I learned was that 40% of Americans never eat a whole grain in their life. How weird is that? But by breaking these grains down, they take all the nutrients and the good things for your body, and even fortified grains, stuff like fortified flours and things like that. They take all the goodness out of them and then put it back in later. But they don't always put the exact same things that came out back in. I know it's weird, but so whole grain is fantastic. A little more expensive if you go out and you buy like whole grain bread. But when you eat a piece of whole grain bread, you're getting, good bread. You're getting pieces you can actually chew on, not just something that dissolves in your mouth like Wonder Bread, and turns all pasty. A lot of people don't like whole grain bread because they think it's too dry. And it's too grainy, I guess. But I happen to like whole grain foods, whole grain snacks. Sun chips are whole grain, What else did I find? Nutra bars. The little cereal fruit bars. A lot of those are whole grains. So there's a huge adjustment in the way that I'm going to have to live, apparently.
Now, is grape nuts a whole grain?
I'm not sure. But you can tell by the boxes. Most food labeling now has gotten to a point where if you take the time to read the labels, it'll tell you everything you need to know and a lot of things that you don't need to know. I talked to a guy the other day that said he's on 4 different cholesterol medicines. He watches his diet like crazy, and every time he has his cholesterol checked, it's still high. It's one of these things, what's the use? Eventually, I could clean up my act, quit smoking cigarettes, quit smoking pot, quit eating fat, quit eating fried foods, live the clean, healthy lifestyle, and I'd get hit by a bus, or get hit by a helicopter, maybe. That would be ironic. Or a gurney, walking through the hospital and get hit by a gurney flying down the hallway. Something's going to kill us eventually. My grandfather had a heart attack in, I believe it was 73. He did not even make it to the hospital. That's how far our medical technology's come in 30 years. He didn't make it to the hospital. He died where he fell of a heart attack. Because I don't know if there were nitro pills back then, but I've got nitroglycerin pills I have to carry around with me all the time now in case I want to blow something up. They work great on like locks. So, I mean, put one up, tape one onto a door lock, and light it with a match. Boom! Off they go. I think. I haven't actually tried it. But Mike in Colorado told me his dad used to be on them, and he took one time and hit it with a hammer, and it didn't explode. So I figure you've got to either light it on fire, you've got to maybe put an electrical charge to it, or something. But I'm pretty sure you can get them to blow up somehow.
If you tape it to a stick of dynamite, it'll probably work.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Of course, they didn't give me any dynamite, just the nitro pills. And of course, I figure my next heart attack's going to be when I see the bill, because I don't have insurance. This is a great job, but it's one of those jobs that, there's no health plan for public access TV. And probably if we did have a health plan, it would be so outrageously high because the insurance companies would say, well, you work in TV? We're not going to insure you. That's too much stress, too many deadlines, too much work. Yeah, it's work all the time. And I've been trying to come back to work, and Lee won't let me. Keeps kicking me out. But he did say I could do the show because sitting here isn't like work. Although, when I start going off on a rant, my blood pressure goes up. You may be able to watch my heart explode right here on TV. But like I said, that was what happened to me. And I want to go into a little bit more because, like I said, this is like a huge thank you to everybody that I saw, everybody that was involved in saving my life. Because that's what they did. They saved my life. If I would have just stayed pulled over on the side of the road, I would have died. Or if I walked into the emergency room and they said, well, we can't see you for 3 hours, I probably would have died. Apparently, when I knew the helicopter was coming, I knew it was rather serious because they just don't call that helicopter for nothing. It's expensive to fly that helicopter down here. I think helicopter fuel is still over $4 a gallon or whatever. But I don't think that drops with gas. And of course, I had to ask, being a Navy guy, I said, is our pilot a Navy guy? And they went, no, he was Army. And I was like, well, I guess I can't really be choosy. But he did a good job. A little rough on the takeoff, but, probably not used to flying out of a landing zone that isn't under heavy fire. But they were awesome. And it would have been a really cool ride had I not been strapped to a board flat on my back with 2 big shots of morphine in me. And all the other stuff they injected me with and put in my throat. And because I had wires, had buzzers and beepers and lights taped all over my body. It was crazy. I want to get more into the doctor stuff. Hold on. And we're going to have a little bit of fun in a little while with the medications that I'm on and the side effects. Because I don't know where I learned it, but somehow I learned that when you go on to medications, you should read the side effects. So I started reading the side effects, and everybody said, oh, don't read the side effects. Because, next time I'm going to die. I'm just going to pull over and go, that's it, because I don't want to go through this again. And it may be easier. But I've got some pictures to show you. But I notice I've rambled on quite long already. And I want to get into crew call. Not that it's a huge crew because Greg's off with his daughter. Keene Middle School concert tonight. But in the booth we have Bruce and Andrea.
How you doing out there tonight, Rick?
I'm doing all right.
I'm glad to see you out here tonight, Rick. It was quite unnerving when we found out late Saturday night that you weren't doing so well. Your mom called us, wanted to make sure we were aware, and we made the trip up and saw you on Sunday. Made sure that you were okay ourselves to see you face to face, let you know we cared.
Yeah.
But quite unnerving because you're not any older than I am, and I don't treat myself very well either. I smoke too much, and I like to drink my beer and drink my coffee, and I don't
Yep.
exercise, and so
Yeah. And it's all about all that stuff, you know.
it's crazy. It's
So-
crazy. I mean, I thought we were living longer nowadays because we take some vitamins once in a while, and medical science is getting better, but
Well, we are living longer because I got a piece of metal in my heart, and could probably live a full, long life now and never have another problem as long as I live.
hopefully not
Or-
in that part of your heart. But
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, my granddad, like I said, never had a chance.
Yeah.
He dropped and died. And back then, if you died of a heart attack, back like in the 60s and the early 70s, it was termed natural causes. Because they didn't know what the hell caused them. They didn't know, they didn't have the technology to send a camera into your body. They barely had the technology in the early 70s to shoot a picture of the outside of your body with a camera, and get it to look worth a damn. But anyway,
back when they were still using fish finders.
they did that to me too. They did the old fish finder on the heart thing to take pictures of my heart. And it was kind of cool. And see, I asked for because the angiogram that they did when I very first went in, that was all done with a camera, and the doctors were looking at screens and they were moving images. And I said, Doc, I do a TV show. Can I get a DVD of this? Because I could probably show it. But they didn't give me a DVD when I left. So, I don't know. Maybe I missed the paperwork where I could have ordered one or bought one. But then it probably would have been copyrighted and,
You'd think they'd want to give you something to, take home as a representation of your stay with them, other than a little piece of metal in your heart. You should at least have a DVD of the experience.
Well, let me zip out of camera here. I got,
Come back on me for a second.
they sent me home with all kinds of stuff. I got a forest they sent me home with. Here, read this and look at this and follow these rules and follow these rules and do all this. Sure, they send you home with all kinds of stuff. I could have brought home my little pee jug, because I'm pretty sure they didn't reuse that. But the whole time I was up there, they had me measuring my pee. And it wasn't that whenever I went to the bathroom, I peed in the jug, and then I'd tell the nurse I peed, and she would come in and look at it and go, okay, and write it down. No, they gave me a piece of paper that said daily tally in and out. Whatever I drank, I had to write down. And however much I peed, I had to write down. Well, I did that all day Sunday, kept track of everything. Monday morning, I stopped, because nobody had even come in and asked me about it. So I figured it probably wasn't that, and by Monday I was so agitated and just wanted to get out of there. And I was basically running around the unit, trying to prove to them that, look, I'm ready to go. Get me out of here. It's costing me money. Of course, now, any of you people that are planning a heart attack and don't have any money, just don't worry, because there is financial help. So don't stress over money. That's what I was told by a number of social workers, the Episcopalian minister. I'm real hoarse tonight, too. I think that's one of my side effects I'm supposed to be watching for. Of course, I've been telling this story probably 100 times now to everybody that I've seen, and having to put up with Mom. And I really hate to say it. Well, no, I don't hate to say it. She's kind of a nag. She worries. Andrea, you don't worry about 5 sons as much as she worries about 1. It's crazy. But I get up in the morning. Did you take your pills? Did you do this? Did you do that? Yes. You know, and she's on me all the time. Well, you be careful. You make sure you don't lift anything and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, I know what I'm doing. I don't know. But it's just the whole change. And I've said this to a couple people, but maybe it wasn't severe enough. Maybe that's why I still haven't got it. You know, because I didn't have an extended recovery period. I don't have a huge, 14.5-inch scar down my chest.
Did you get to see your life flash before your eyes?
I was never unconscious. I wasn't unconscious even for 1 minute during the entire ordeal. I was fully aware of what was going on around me, what they were doing to me. And of course the guys that...
Feel that thing up there in your chest?
No. Like they had me on 2 shots of morphine.
I couldn't feel anything.
Good stuff.
I mean, and it's not like I was like, when you see these medical shows on TV and you see these people all drugged up and they're just do. It wasn't even like that. It was just like serene. Just like everything was calm, nothing hurt, but I wasn't like spouting gibberish or singing nursery rhymes or anything. And of course you've got people talking to you all the time. The biggest, this is the thing that got me. Rate your pain, 0 to 10. Like, I don't know, it hurts. It hurts. Bad. Put your bad wherever you want on that little line. It hurts. 1 to 10. I don't know. Hit me with a hammer and I'll see if it hurts worse than that. But probably not. I mean, I've been working with a screw gun and drove a Phillips head bit into the side of my thumb. And that hurt like crazy. Probably as much as my chest did. But you can't. When you're in pain, you can't rate it. And of course, most of us live with 1 degree of pain or another, constantly, and it's just normal. Back aches, muscle aches, those are pains. A paper cut. Yeah, paper cut can be a 10, let me tell you.
About a 3.
10.
A 3?
I'm thinking set yourself on fire, that'd be 10.
All right. Yeah. Maybe being on fire would be 10. Maybe getting, having a huge rock fall on your head.
That could hurt.
Or a slab of concrete or a bridge collapsing on your head. That would probably be a 10.
Anything near your head.
Run over by a car, that would be a 10.
Anytime I hurt,
by a
it's a
train.
10. I'm a baby that way. I get sick and that's it. Which is why I try not to get sick, because I'm such a piss poor person when I'm sick. I whine about every little thing. I want everybody to do shit for me.
Rick, what I want to know is one thing. When they gave you all that morphine, how the hell did you stay awake? I go to sleep.
Oh no, they made sure I stayed awake. They
I'm
kept me
serious.
moving.
Bruce can tell you, they gave me a shot of morphine over at Peterborough, and I was out. I was out in seconds. There was no talking to me.
Well, of course, they probably gave me a littler dose than you.
Well, it doesn't take much on me.
No.
She's a cheap date.
All right. And it seemed like everybody they wheeled me by was probably going to get a cut of this money. Anybody that even looked at me as I went by on the gurney is probably filling out a bill right now. Yeah, this is for that long-haired guy on Saturday. $200 because he got wheeled by me. Well, I do have to say, the doctors up there in Hanover, Lebanon, actually it's in Lebanon. If you have to go up there and you punch Dartmouth, Hitchcock, Hanover into your GPS, you will not get there. Actually, I don't know how. My daughter said she put the hospital in her GPS and it didn't get them there. Of course, she knew where it was because, God, it must have been 10 years at least ago. Mike had his big episode and, oh, okay. Thank you, Bruce. That's for my little picture. Mike went through his episode where he had an infection at the base of his brain. And he was in bad shape, and they took him up there. So, trips up there. They saved my dad's life when he had a bout of Wagner's disease.
And it's some of the best neurologists in this part of the country right now up there, and that's where Andrea goes for her migraines and headaches and such.
Yep. I also believe they also have a brand new huge cancer ward up there. They've got a pediatrics clinic up there. They've got, anything that you can specialize in medicine is up there. And it's fantastic. All right. What was I going to do now? Should I show this, Bruce? All right, let me show this real quick. This is my heart. The top one is before, and I know you can't really see, but right in here on the right corneal artery, that's where it was blocked. And this is the before picture. I don't know, this is Rick's super high-tech PowerPoint presentation. But you can see where the vein narrows out. And then on the bottom, you can see where it's back up to full size. The left side, everything looked great. But the doctor said that the way that the walls of the right artery are wavy, they're not nice straight lines like on the left side. All those little spots where it gets close together, those are potential problem spots. Now, luckily, they were able to put a stent in.
Now, is that typical of everybody's heart, or is that just your heart?
I'm not sure.
The wavy veins is what I'm asking.
Oh, the wavy veins it's typical of anybody with the onset of heart problems, I believe. I'm not a doctor. I just listen to them a lot. But any place where it's bumpy, it's susceptible to be blocked again. Now, what they do is, if they couldn't have done a stent, what they do is they'll do a bypass, would have been the next step. And what that does is Bruce, can we pull that up again one more time? What a bypass does is they'll take a vein out of your leg, and they'll go from one of these arteries up here around the clog and hook it back into the vein. And that's what the bypass is. A quadruple bypass just means they put four veins going to different spots, and so on and so forth. And so the technology is there.
But it was the veins that actually pump the blood to the muscles, the heart muscles.
Right. That make the heart work. Now, if the heart goes without blood long enough through those veins, the tissue starts to die, and the actual muscle itself will die, which is bad news. And I believe they didn't tell me how much, but I believe there is a little bit of damaged muscle in the heart now. that will heal as scar tissue, which isn't as elastic as real tissue, as your real muscle. I mean, anybody that has scar tissue knows that it's a different feel, different textures, but that's what they did. And
You want to do the musical interlude and then come back?
I did have one thing that bothered me on Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning. No, Monday morning when they came in and gave me all this paperwork. They had a strip like this. It's an electrocardiogram paper. This is basically a normal one. I had them take this. I was walking the unit at 12:38 on the 2nd of December, Monday morning or Tuesday morning. And I was bored just walking, and I would stop and talk to the nurses and find out what they were doing, and, you know, because I was interested, kind of. And they got a lot of machines and, you know, screens. They had more screens than we've got here at Cheshire TV, which, you know, I thought was cool.
Did they have the machine that goes ping?
No. Nope. No ping machine.
Isn't that the most expensive one in the hospital, though?
It might be, but they didn't have it where I was,
They
I
didn't
don't
have
think.
one?
I didn't see it. But they said that they had me on telemetry. That's what they call it, telemetry, which is like the space shuttle or any rocket they send into space. Telemetry is good. And apparently, you know, they had me on telemetry with wires all over me and a little thing I had to have in my little hospital gown pocket. And see, that's what I thought it was, because they said you can't go off the ward. And there was a sign down the hallway that said patients can't go past here without a nurse. And I just figured that the thing would blow up or something, shock me or do something to make me come back. But I don't know. I guess it can only read so far. It was like a wireless system or something. But it keeps track of my heartbeat and my breathing and all the other stuff that the doctors want to know about. But apparently I had an 8-beat, it says run of NSVT, which they didn't tell me what it was, but it's a irregular heartbeat. It doesn't say when. But it just said I had, after the procedure, I had an 8-beat moment of irregular heartbeats, and that was all. No other complications, and that didn't turn into anything. But they want me to quit smoking. They want me to no heavy lifting, healthy heart diet. Somewhere I saw something about sex, and it said you can have sex whenever you and your partner are up to it, and that one little fact is that having sex uses no more energy than walking up 2 flights of stairs. So now that you folks know that, you'll never have to live with the excuse of, oh, I'm tired. Because it doesn't take that much energy, 2 flights of stairs. If you can do that, you can have sex. Especially if you're the one that's laying down. And I was told in my instructions, if I have sex, I have to be on the bottom because it's less work. But all right, we got 15 minutes. Let me up. Hey, did anybody see that Victoria's Secret fashion show last night? Oh my God, it was cool. They showed Jeff Gordon sitting in the audience. Yeah, of course he was there. Who else did I see? Mario Lopez was in the audience. But one of the coolest things I thought about the show was that they had the audio of a director or somebody that you could hear the cues. And you could hear him say, animation 5, go. And then the shot would change. So, I mean, I thought that was really cool, the way they put it together.
You think that was on purpose? Or did they accidentally leave the
No,
mic open?
I think it was probably on purpose. These folks have been doing these fashion shows for so long now that I don't think anything they do is not on purpose. Of course, I don't actually know what they were modeling, because Victoria's Secret, these girls would come out with like a bra and panties and then this huge other costume with big wings, and I don't think you can get the wings at Victoria's Secret. The only thing you can get is the panties and bra. But I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things. It raises the ratings, you know, instead of watching. And actually, there wasn't really anything on last night going up against it. So, but let me get to all these meds that they've got me on. Of course, I've nitro, and some of the side effects for this stuff is, you know, dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting when sitting or standing, headache, burning or tingling in the mouth, fast heartbeat, or flushing of your face and neck. It says check with your doctor if any of that stuff happens. It says contact your doctor immediately if you get continuing chest pain, pain in the neck, arm or jaw, excessive sweating or vomiting. Wait. Pain in the neck. I'll call a doctor and tell him about my mom. So yeah, can you do something about this? Sure, they've got a shot that would take care of it. I bet it'd be nice. All right, this pravastatin. And see, I don't know really what any of these do. It's this is for the cholesterol. It's to keep my cholesterol down because I'm still going to eat fried foods. But the side effects include dizziness or flu-like symptoms. And if they become bothersome, then I should check with the doctor. Check with the doctor as soon as possible if I experience muscle pain, tenderness, weakness, especially if associated with a fever or a general feeling of discomfort. Otherwise, if I get a flu shot and start feeling the effects of the flu, I have to contact the doctor. A rash, yellow skin or eyes. How's my skin? It's all right, I guess. Unusual bleeding or bruising or a sore throat. And now I have to call my doctor immediately if I experience swelling of the hands, face, lips, eyes, throat, or tongue, difficulty in swallowing or breathing, or hoarseness. Now, I notice I'm a little hoarse tonight, but I don't know if that's just because the pills or if it's just because I tend to yell a lot. Because I still do get stressed out. I try and not get stressed out. But look at this world we live in. There's no way to eliminate all the stress in your life. All right. See what some of the other ones are. Metoprolol. This is a good one. This is what they call a beta blocker. And it's used to treat high blood pressure and chest pains. Some of these side effects include mild drowsiness, lightheadedness or dizziness, or unusual tiredness or weakness. Other more severe side effects are sudden unusual weight gain or swelling of the hands, ankles, or feet, shortness of breath, wheezing, or slow or irregular heartbeat. And then, of course, allergic reactions like rash, itching, swelling, severe dizziness, and trouble breathing. And then this other one is lisinopril. What the hell does that do? It's a angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. Oh, another high blood pressure thing. Apparently they're worried about my blood pressure. And they haven't even seen my show. These side effects probably got the most and the worst that I've seen. Headache, drowsiness, dizziness, or lightheadedness, tiredness, weakness, and cough. And if they continue or get bothersome, check with the doctor. Check with the doctor as soon as possible for these: fast or irregular heartbeat, prolonged nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea, a change in the amount of your urine, unusual joint pain or unusual muscle pain, cramps or weaknesses. Other side effects could include swelling of the hands, legs, face, lips, eyes, throat, tongue, or trunk, difficulty swallowing or breathing, severe dizziness, lightheadedness, fainting, hoarseness, chest pains, unusual stomach pain, yellowing of the skin, darkening of the urine, sore throat, or fever. And I lost one because one of them, and I think I'm affecting these side effects, is one of my legs is shorter than the other two. Think about it, you'll get it. All right. Yeah. It takes some people a few minutes. It's not just you, Andrea. There were a lot of people at home going, huh? I get it now. Yeah. It's quite a bit shorter than the other two. All right. I'm tired, Bruce. I've had enough. I'm on light duty, so I can't do a whole show. Sorry. We can't. Oh, we could, but why bother? Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what else I was going to talk about. Oh, the CPR thing. Yeah, but see, that wouldn't have helped me. But, yep. I mean, it's a good excuse for learning CPR. I mean, everybody should learn CPR. Of course, you can't do CPR on yourself. So CPR only works on somebody if there's somebody around to administer CPR.
But it's useful education, and you would have recognized the signs that you were having had you already gone through something like
It is.
that.
Oh, yes.
And the Red Cross does offer those kind of classes and educational training and so forth.
Right. The Red Cross offers classes like that with CPR, and I'm sure they do blood pressure clinics and all the different things. But I mean, we're gonna be doing a show here within the next 2 or 3 months on a lot of the things that the Red Cross does do right here in Keene. Things that you wouldn't even think that the Red Cross would do something like that. If I had to go to Dartmouth for an appointment, all I would have to do is call the Red Cross and say, I have a doctor's appointment in Dartmouth, and I don't want to drive there by myself. They would give me a ride there. The Red Cross would. That's one of the things they do. So, I mean, Red Cross is fantastic. The hospitals all have, community things that you can get involved in to learn. Because like I said, when this happened, I had no clue it was a heart attack. I didn't know it was serious until they said they were flying me out of here on a helicopter.
Well, Rick, unfortunately, television portrays heart attacks as that excruciating pain across the chest, and then you drop. And yeah, in the left arm and things like that. And unfortunately, what you experienced when I went through the CPR course recently, and actually Bruce's dad taught it, your symptoms were absolutely 100% classic to a heart attack.
Yeah.
And nothing at all like they portray on television, and people really need to be aware of that. TV is just that, TV.
Right. And from what I understand, I had the more severe type of heart attack. Because there are a couple different kinds of heart attacks, and I had the more severe type. And what it's actually called was coronary thrombosis, which is a blood clot in the vein. Because what happens is when the artery gets fatty buildup inside the artery, then the little blood cells called platelets come by that fatty opening and get hung up there and start to clot. And they'll block that artery right off. And I don't know how long it would have been before my heart would stop. But your heart doesn't have to stop to have a heart attack. Because that's what a lot of people think is a heart attack is when your heart stops. And it's not. That's just, you know, the next level, I guess, or whatever. But no, I want to thank everybody that was at the Keene emergency room on Saturday night. What was it, December 1st? Is that what the date was, Bruce? On Saturday? November 31st? Okay, the 29th. Yeah. Yeah, so the people that were on duty down there this past Saturday night, I want to thank them with everything I've got. The DART crew that flew down here, and I imagine, you know, I don't know whether they get called away from loved ones or if they're like an on duty. They must be an on duty and just waiting for the calls, like a fire department. But these people that flew down here and flew me back up there, the people that were waiting in the procedure room, what they call the cath lab, when I got there, and they rolled me immediately in, and these guys got right to business. Of course, they tried to explain everything to me as they went along. And I said, look, just, you know, I don't need to hear every step of what you're doing. Just do what you need to do, and I'll just lay here and be quiet. Because I didn't really want to know. I just knew that they were, you know, I could feel blood on my leg, and it was weird. But you can, when they put the catheter in, you can feel the blood trickle down the inside of your leg, and you're like, ooh, that's not really a cool feeling. And then thinking that they pumped me full of all these real blood thinners and clot buster stuff so that I can't clot up. But now that's about the sorest spot there. Up next on No Spin, I got no idea. Chris and Randy have got somebody on talking about something. I'm not going to be directing tonight because technically I can't work and set up, but I've got a crew to set up the drag show. So all I've got to do is go in and sit down and push the buttons and enjoy the show. So I'll be out there, and if any of you want to come out to the drag show, come on out. It starts in a couple of hours, and I'm down to 30 seconds. Sorry we didn't get the musical interlude in, but, you know, it's my show, and I felt like telling you all about my heart attack. So watch for the symptoms, you know. Think about it. I'm not your prime candidate for a heart attack. I'm skinny. I'm fairly healthy. And I would have never guessed. But be careful. I want to thank Mom's Tattoo, Gemini Screen Print. Till next week. Peace.